This is the evening news for Friday, August 22, 2014. I am Ruben Stobie. Thanks for joining us. Making the headlines tonight, Kanu destroys over $5 billion in drugs. Forensic test being done on semi-submersible vessel. GFC staff targeted, laptop with forestry records stolen. 124 NGSA graduates benefit from police bursary awards. Winner of Guyana Festival receives car, and the killer of Linden COI commissioner shot dead. Now for the news in detail. The Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, Kanu, this morning destroyed billions of dollars in cocaine and marijuana that were seized through several operations over the past year. Bishop Mohammed was at the exercise and filed this report.
The drugs, which totaled close to 2 tons, were set alight in the presence of media operatives, members of the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit and members of the Guyana Fire Service at Homestretch Avenue, Georgetown. The estimated cost for the cocaine is $5.1 billion Guyana dollars, and the marijuana is estimated at $196 million Guyana dollars. Head of the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, James Singh, at the exercise explained the amount of drugs being destroyed and the possible destinations they were heading.
This exercise this morning, as you know, Kanu does regular destruction exercise just to ensure we don't have a stockpile, both for security reasons and also other reasons. The drugs being destroyed this morning would have been marijuana and cocaine. The total amount of marijuana being destroyed is it's just under a ton. Actually, 1,970 kilograms of marijuana. This would have been seized between last year and this year, numerous exercises aboard vessels and also on search operations. With respect to cocaine, it's about 730 kilograms. That would have been searched, that would have been found at the airport and other locations also.
If you to give a street estimate to these...
Well, I can only tell you the prices in the United States and Europe. The last price we've heard in Europe, it's about 45,000 euros a kilogram of cocaine. In the United States, we've heard, based on purity, 40,000. So this cocaine and marijuana was destined for several places, some for Europe, some for the Caribbean, and some for the United States and Canada.
He also believes that there has been an increase in seizures compared to the previous years, and thought that with the resources available at their disposal, his department has managed to clamp down on the amount of drugs being shipped into and out of the country.
There has been an increase in seizures, both by Kanu and police. Drug traffickers are still trying their best to move the drugs out of the country. It is a lucrative trade for them, so they will always keep trying. The good thing for us is that through the various task force that has been set up and the closer collaboration that we have with the military, the police, etc., we're seeing a lot more seizures here than overseas and a lot more prosecutions also. There's always this question of why don't we get the larger amounts that are coming in? Why don't we get the larger amounts that are going out? Why don't we get the big fish? Why don't we get the small fish? From the law enforcement standpoint, the fact is that our country is not deemed a narco state. The fact is that we are making seizures, whether they're coming in, whether they're going out, whether they're at the airport, is an indication that the government of Guyana is supporting law enforcement in carrying out its mandate. We will find the drugs, or we will do operations regardless of which part of the country it's at. We will not focus on just where it's coming in or where it's going out.
He is, however, optimistic that with the collaboration with the law enforcement agencies of the task force, the agency will continue to put a dent in the drug trade. The Evening News understands that the price for the cocaine is estimated at $35,000 per kilo and $500 per kilo for marijuana. Bishop Mohammed, The Evening News.
Bishop Mohammed now reports that as investigations continue into the discovery of the semi-submersible craft in a creek of the Guyana River Northwest District, Head of Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit James Singh says they are making headway.
The semi-submersible was fully constructed here in Guyana, and it was ready to move from its location to, in our opinion, collect a quantity of contraband for another location.
That was Head of Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit James Singh, who also stated that the agency is working around the clock to determine who is responsible for the construction of the vessel.
We're trying to determine who built it, where they came from, local, basic things that I'm sure the press would be interested in asking. Because I know there's a lot of speculation whether or not there's an overseas group, whether or not there's enough security measures in place at the various locations, the presence of law enforcement. The fact is that we found it. Right? So we need to determine now, is there more being done? Is this a chance of it happening again?
Singh also stated that his agency is making all arrangements for the removal of the vessel to a secured area, while noting that several forensic tests are being conducted.
We've had experts from overseas visit the location, carry out some forensic checks, and we will now look at removing that vessel to an area that is more secure, so further examinations can be done. Right now it's still out in the middle of the jungle, and we have to take into account safety and security of the persons there. We don't want to do everything on site. The forensic tests would basically, what we're trying to determine now would be things like design. Is this similar to what was found in previous countries? The engine, the shape, the capacity, things like that. It gives you a better understanding now, rather than just saying we found a semi-submersible. We can now say, well, the semi-submersible capable of crossing the Atlantic, the range, the capacity, things like that.
The CANU had also said that they will be continuing to expand their presence not only in that area but across the country.
There are several countries within the Andean region where semi-submersibles have been found. They have Air Force, they have Navy, and yet drug submarines have been constructed at that location. Law enforcement was able to pick it up. So the fact that a camp was found and a submersible discovered does not indicate that we're not doing enough. We found it. We plan to expand our presence throughout the entire country. Again, our operations are based on information intelligence, which is what led us in the first place to this submarine, which was an ongoing operation that we had. And through the checks, as I mentioned in our release, through the searches in the area, we came upon this discovery.
The semi-submersible vessel was found on Thursday last and is believed to have links with Colombian drugs cartel. The Colombian drug dealers are known to use this innovative technology to ship narcotics across the Caribbean and the United States. Bisham Mohammed, Evening News.
A Partnership for National Unity, APNU, is calling on President Donald Ramatar to play a more integral role in the fight against narco-trafficking. Details in this Svetlana Marshall report.
Leader of the Partnership for National Unity, David Granger, said President Donald Ramatar should become personally involved in directing the war on narcotics, which are apparently being exported on an industrial scale. Simply spending money is not enough, Granger said, as he emphasized the need for a credible national drug strategy master plan and the establishment of an effective national enforcement structure that would garner results. He also underscored the importance of equipping the security forces with the requisite equipment to curb the trade.
These tasks must not be left to the Minister of Home Affairs, who has failed to curb the drug trade. It is clear that the PPPC either has lost interest in ending the narco trade or is untroubled by the damage that the trade is doing to this country and its people.
Granger said government must be cognizant of the International Narcotics Control Strategy report, in which the U.S. Department of State reminded the country that it was a transshipment point for South American cocaine on its way to North America and Europe. Despite this fact, Granger said the administration has no effective counter-narcotics strategy in place. It was also pointed out that the National Drug Strategy Master Plan came to an end approximately 5 years ago. A replacement, he emphasized, is still pending.
This country's two counter-narcotics agencies, the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit and the Police Anti-Narcotics Unit, have never been provided with the surveillance aircraft, river and coastal patrol boats, all-terrain vehicles, and trained personnel needed to secure the country's international transit points, coasts, and borders. They are, at present, incapable of locating, identifying, investigating, and prosecuting the major drug cartels. Fourth, narcotics trafficking. Under the PPPC, this country has become a warehouse and an international emporium from which narco traffickers from all around the world export their merchandise to foreign markets.
The partnership is contending that since the PPP came into power, it has lacked the political will to curb the issue of narco-trafficking. President Ramatar, he stressed, must accept the responsibility for the failure of the PPPC's counter-narcotics campaign.
Police are investigating the break-in of a car belonging to J.C. Archibald, Company Secretary, Guyana Forestry Commission, GFC, in the vicinity of Thomas Lands, Georgetown. A police source revealed that about 17:30 hours it was discovered that the car was broken into, window reportedly smashed, and the only item stolen was a laptop. There were other items in the car, but these were not removed by the perpetrators. The laptop belonging to the GFC contained vital and important information given Archibald's responsibilities. Meanwhile, a number of staff have been targeted and even threatened in recent days, as the Commission has been very aggressive in debunking misinformation and misrepresentations of the forestry sector. If you have a news tip or a news story you would like our news team to follow, message us or WhatsApp telephone number 680-9630 or 600-3117. You can also call us at our office 231-0382 or 226-2102, 223-7230 or 223-7231. Stay tuned to the evening. Welcome back. In this report, we hear that some 124 graduates from the National Grade 6 Assessment have benefited from this year's Police Bursary Awards.
The Guyana Police Force today distributed approximately $4.2 million in bursary awards to 124 students. These children would have excelled at this year's NGSA examination and were selected for the awards, which were presented to them at the ceremony held at the Police Officers Annex, Ivleri. Acting Commissioner of Police Silal Prasad congratulated both the parents and students for their achievements as he reflected on the reason why the awards presentation was established. Prasad noted that he hopes with this assistance, students will continue to work hard and put their best attitude out there.
We want our students to be naturally curious, confident, flexible, and happy learners. And that is one of the reasons that we make this contribution. So we come in and assist what the parents can provide. So we take away the stresses or some of the stresses that are associated with the economic burden to properly uniform you, providing adequate school books and whatever other materials you need in order to pursue your studies. We also want to instill in them important life skills like discipline, flexibility, critical thinking, and problem solving.
Meanwhile, Chief Education Officer Olatu Sam urged parents to support their children and play a significant role in their academics, even if they do not have the time to physically be there for them.
At this stage in their lives, your children must now appreciate the fact that they have to be complete students. You must facilitate that process as parents. The next 3 years should be spent on teaching your child how to teach themselves. What are the resources and sources of knowledge, and how to effectively access and navigate these to ensure that they express mastery of the knowledge base required of them. If we invest the time now to do that, I promise you that your child will have no difficulty in excelling at the secondary level and will become a lifelong learner.
Each of the 124 students was given a voucher for $25,000. However, 6 of the top performers received special monetary awards for their outstanding performances. Kelly Bacchus and Bruntley Singh were both given $200,000 by the Guyana Police Force, while Kelly Correct got $175,000. The police also awarded Avia Lowingfield with a voucher for $150,000. The Police Consumer Society presented Shania Smith with $135,000 and Garfield Dover got $115,000 from the Police Credit Union. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchan.
Earlier today, Minister of Tourism Irfan Ali handed over the keys of a Toyota Runex to Mahadev Singh and his wife Maharani Singh, who were the winners of the Gateway Prize of the Guyana Festival 2014. Minister Ali said that he was proud to hand over the keys to such a young family and that he hopes persons will continue to support the festival in coming years. The car was donated by Arway Hardware Inc. Speaking with reporters, Maharani Singh related that she bought her passport from Ashman's Trading and did not expect to win the car. She is, however, very happy. All patrons who purchased Guyana Festival passports had the chance to participate in a draw as long as they filled them out with their names and contact information and dropped them off in the boxes provided. Acting Town Clerk Carol Suba has rebuffed some allegations made by the mayor and his councils with respect to the granting of tax exemptions.
Acting Town Clerk Carol Suba said that contrary to allegations made by Georgetown Mayor Hamilton Green, payments were made by former owner of Strand Cinema to the City Council. She related that in excess of $27 million was paid on April 1, 2014, and the second payment of $1.28 million was paid on August 4, 2014. She said that she is also in possession of the receipts of the payment. Town Clerk Suba said that the building was sold to the church and that churches and other such non-profit organizations qualify for tax exemptions.
Ganga Prasad and Sons, Chisanan Prasad and others, the sons, they sold to the Universal Church. Churches don't pay. They're exempted from the payment. But what happened? This council took a decision quite a number of years not to grant exemption for that property. However, they qualified for exemption when it became a church. Now, if you look at this valuation, this valuation was changed. This was issued by the Chief Valuation Officer. And based on this valuation, the church was exempted.
Suba said she was the person to take Anand Prasad to court in the first place, that Prasad is no friend of hers and is treated like an ordinary citizen. She argued that the statements made by the mayor and city council were dishonest and misleading. Shania Singh for the Evening News.
Members of the Clean Up My Country Program Implementation Committee say they are monitoring activities in areas where work is in progress. According to a release over the last few days, several complaints were made in respect of the piles of debris which are left on parapets as a result of the cleanup exercise. The monitoring unit on Friday conducted inspections in the areas where work is in progress. In Alboystown, the committee reported that the contractor stated that the piles of debris which were placed on the Independence Boulevard's parapet are from the market. He stated that it was difficult to clean the market during the day since vendors plied their trade at that time, and as a result, work was carried out during the nights and in many cases until 3 hours. General Secretary of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, Hugh Riley, says that the upcoming SOTIC conference, billed for the United States Virgin Islands, USVI, September 17 to 19, will include discussions on barriers to travel within the Caribbean. Alexis Rodney reports.
Riley, during an interview with reporters yesterday, shared plans for the upcoming conference. He said that while there are many barriers to travel for persons coming into the Caribbean, the hurdles faced by citizens of Caribbean nations are dumbfounding, and this the conference hopes to address.
Intra-Caribbean travel is a focal point of that discussion, but all travel into and affecting the Caribbean will also be touched upon. For instance, we have on that panel a representative of IATA, of the International Air Transport Association. They're going to talk much more broadly, so it's not just about regional travel. But while we're on the subject of intra-regional tourism, we're going to have on that panel Michael DeLollo, who is the new Chief Executive Officer of Caribbean Airlines. We're also going to have on that panel Loretta Martin from ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization, And very, very importantly, it's chaired by Ambassador Brian Challenger. Now, Ambassador Challenger, that's a name you might recognize. He was the CEO of LIAC for quite a number of years, so he knows a thing or two about regional travel. So we expect it to be a very engaging session.
Discussions on intra-regional travel hurdles will focus on taxes and costs, regulatory matters, security issues, economic conditions, cost of regional travel, among others.
This obsession with checking and rechecking our own people as we try to get from one island in the Caribbean to another. So there are all kinds of barriers to travel that will be discussed. So just in summary, it's barriers to travel within the Caribbean and to the Caribbean.
Under the theme Realizing the Vision, positioning carbon tourism for major change, the Carbon Tourism Organization will this year host its annual State of the Industry Conference in the United States Virgin Islands. For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
The aviation sector will now benefit from the automatic dependent surveillance broadcasting system, which will improve the management of Guyana's air traffic. More details in this report.
The Guyana Aviation Authority launched the Automatic Dependent Surveillance Broadcasting Project on Wednesday at the Grand Coastal Hotel. The ADSB is a next-generation surveillance technology incorporating both air and ground aspects that provide a more accurate picture of an aircraft's three-dimensional position. According to the director of the GCAA, the launch of the ADSB project is a 3-year trial to see how it will boost the operations in Guyana.
With ADSB, which will be able to give you real-time information on aircraft movement, it will mean that much more aircraft, many more aircraft can be accommodated in the same airspace at the same level of safety. Now, there may have been cause for delays, and that would be a cost factor where the operators are concerned too. Because for every delay, it means it's going to cost you, one, in terms of fuel burn, especially if you have to divert because of traffic. And this system would enable you to save a little bit in terms of your operational cost. For the international operators, it will be even better. And now with ICAO moving towards more of a green environment, and we're talking about cutting down on fuel burn and carbon emissions, it means that those international flights that would normally use routes that come way overhead Timeri can now use waypoints and divert and use a more direct routing to get to where they are going. And for a large aircraft, some of you will know what the fuel burn is like per minute. So you know what the cost will be and cost savings will be. So we are about to embark on a project which will benefit not only us, but you, the operators, as well as the international community.
Meanwhile, Transport Minister Robinson Ben lauded the GCAA for taking this initiative towards advancing the equipment for the sector. He noted that the ADSB system will allow for better management of local and international air traffic.
We look forward to having all of our domestic aircraft and the foreign ones passing through having their transponders. We look forward to our being able to track them in perhaps 0.5 of a second real time. And we look forward, if we do have any time to do issues in relation to search and rescue, that we will be able to better pinpoint any location which might be of interest with respect to that matter. So I think we are launching and introducing a comprehensive system today, as I said, a market change with respect to what we do in this sector.
A detailed presentation on the ADSB system was done by Director of Air Navigation Services, Chitrani Hirlal. She too noted that Guyana's air traffic has become crowded and requires more technologically advanced method of controlling the traffic. The overall cost for the implementation of the ADSB project will be approximately US $2.5 to $3 million. This includes the acquiring and installation of the equipment and training for the staff. Most of the larger aircraft are already equipped with the aviation units that are required for the ADS-B system. However, the domestic aircrafts do not have the technology to facilitate this. It will take some US $5,000 for the upgrading of the equipment in some aircraft, while the new installation will cost some US $8,000. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchan.
The Evening News will return after these messages. Thanks for staying tuned. The man who pumped 5 bullets at close range into the head and body of senior counsel Dana Sitahal has been identified as one of 3 men killed in a police shootout at Freeport on Wednesday. Senior police officers who are directly involved in Sitahal's murder probe confirmed that David Jr. Baker, 28, was one of the key suspects involved in the well-planned assassination. The officers spoke on the strict condition of anonymity as they were not authorized to disclose sensitive information relating to the case. Deputy Police Commissioner of Crime Glenn Hackett offered no comment when questioned about Baker's involvement in Sitahal's murder on Thursday, but police said Baker's death has not seriously affected their investigations into the murder. In this report, we hear that the DNA samples taken from the decayed body found at Lillian Dahl have been taken to Trinidad for testing.
DNA samples from the decomposed body of a female that was found last month behind the CARICOM Secretariat have been sent to Trinidad and Tobago for testing, since it is believed to be that of missing teacher Nayosi Goodman. According to Acting Commissioner of Police Silal Pasod, the samples were sent to the Caribbean island after there were discussions between the labs from the 2 countries. He noted this is the first time that they are using the lab in Trinidad and could not say when the results are expected.
We use Trinidad now because the discussion seems to suggest that we are likely to get results earlier.
36-year-old Goodman was last seen on Sunday, July 6th at the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall, where she had accompanied her school's basketball team to the National Schools Basketball Championships. Goodman of William Street, Kitty, was last seen sending off the team with another teacher. On July 24th, a female body in advanced stage of decomposition was found and was suspected to be that of the missing teacher. However, relatives could not have positively identified the body, hence DNA samples were taken to determine whether the body is that of Goodman's. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchan.
More news still ahead. Stay tuned.
The Police Consumer Society presented Shania Smith with $135,000 and Garfield Dover got $115,000 from the
We return with news from the region. Barbados will use next month's 3rd International UN Conference on Small Island Developing States, SIDS, in Samoa to make a case for socio-economic development for small developing countries. Barbados Prime Minister Frondell Stewart, who will lead a 6-member delegation to the September 1-4 meeting, will chair the first partnership dialogue on sustainable economic development and will participate in a panel discussion on financing for sustainable development. He's expected to lobby for the Caribbean's cause while ensuring that he pushes for more equitable access to financial resources and other development goods. Stewart will simultaneously seek to promote business opportunities in the region. Internationally, at least 64 people have been killed in an attack on a Sunni mosque northeast of the Iraqi capital, Baghdad. Officials say a bomber blew himself up in the mosque during Friday prayers and gunmen fired on fleeing worshippers. Some reports say Shia militias carried out the attack, but others blame Sunni jihadist group Islamic State, IS. The area has seen heavy fighting between IS and Iraqi troops backed by Shia militiamen. The U.S. has called IS the most dangerous threat it faces. Time for the bridge reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge is expected to be closed from 14:30 hours on Saturday, August 23, 2014 for a period of 1.5 hours. The Burbage River Bridge is expected to be closed from 14:40 hours on Saturday for a period of 1.5 hours. Stay tuned, the sports news is next. It's now time for sports. In the headlines, West Indies crush Bangladesh in second ODI. Potential swimmers urged to take education seriously. Bang's DIH Limited on board with Guyana Cup horse race meet, and Park players' successful tennis camp concludes. The sports news comes to you with the kind compliments of Makarp.
We believe that everything worth building should be built just once. That is why we build on culture, on trust, on integrity. We exist to do more, better, faster, safer. Your success depends on the foundation it's built on. Everything we do is meant to move you forward. Mark on. Let's build Guyana together.
We begin with cricket news. Sunil Narine and Kumar Roach combined for 6 wickets as West Indies steamrolled Bangladesh by 177 runs to win the second ODI, and with it, the series with 1 match to go. Chasing 248, the visitors were bundled out for 70, the lowest ODI total in Grenada, with Narine taking 3 for 13 and Roach 3 for 19. Opener Tamim Iqbal was the only batsman to reach double figures with 37 as the last 7 wickets tumbled for 13 runs. West Indies 247 for 7 was built on half centuries from Chris Gale and Darren Bravo, while Lendell Simmons made 40, Dennis Ramdin 34 and Kieran Pollard 26. Gale's 58 included 5 sixes, while Bravo made 53. The third and final match of the series, which is a day-night affair, is billed for Monday from 14:30 hours in St. Kitts. The annual swimming camp organized by the National Sports Commission came to a successful end today, and the Director of Sport, Neil Kumar, had strong words of advice for the potential swimmers as they embark on their next journey in life. Avinash Ramzan attended the closing ceremony and filed this report.
Delivering remarks at the closing ceremony at the Colgreen Pool, Kumar urged the youngsters, who numbered a record 120 for the 6 weeks program, to also focus strongly on their academic upliftment while pursuing their swimming endeavors. Kumar identified national swimmer Onika George as a perfect role model for the youngsters. George, who attended Bishop's High, was outstanding at CSEC, copying 11 grade 1s. According to Kumar, participants of the camp should work to emulate George both in their swimming and academic pursuits.
It means, parents, that your children could do sports and do the academic good, excellent. And you must be proud of that. And you must try to let your children emulate young Alika George. And there are many more students who are playing in different disciplines and are excelling, like the Wilshire, right? One of our top students in squash, she excelled and I think she got 16 or 17 grade 1s at the just concluded CXC. So parents, the opportunity is there for you.
The top performers of the camp have now graduated to the Olympic-sized swimming pool at Liliandal, but Kumar said the others should not hang their head in despair, as the National Sports Commission is willing to make provisions for them to improve on their skills.
So I encourage you that if you want to get your children trained and continue swimming here, then you could work out with us. We will prepare to find some time, 2-3 times an hour in the week, so that your children could come and continue training. So before the year out, they could graduate and go and swim at the aquatic center.
President of the Guyana Amateur Swimming Association, Ivan Posad, in commending the National Sports Commission for hosting the camp on an annual basis, said there is a need for more such activities in order for talents to come to the fore.
One of my recommendations is for all of the coaches of Gaza who are qualified. We should not only depend on the Director of Sports and the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports to do this. I'm sure that we have many swimming pools across Guyana where we can do small bits of this every summer. So instead of graduating only a few summers to the aquatic center, we can do much more if we have 10 or 12 of these programs across Guyana.
According to one of the coaches, Paul Mahaika, this year has been the largest ever in the history of the camp in terms of participation, with 120 youths attending the sessions. Of that number, 95 of them came to the camp without any prior knowledge of the intricacies of the sport. They were tutored on the fundamentals of the sport by a team of 9 instructors and the experienced Cuban coach, Isabel Maria Causafals.
The 8th annual Guyana Cup horse race meet continues to receive tremendous corporate support, with Banks DIH Limited being the latest entity to confirm its support for Sunday's highly anticipated event at the Port Moran Turf Club. Avinash Ramzan has the details.
Over $25 million in cash and prizes will be at stake during the country's biggest and most lucrative horse race meet, set to start at 12 hours 30. 9 races are carded for the day, with the feature being the C1 and lower, carrying a total prize money of $7.5 million. The winning prize is a whopping $4 million and a Guyana Cup trophy. The race will be contested over a distance of 1,800 meters. At a simple ceremony at Banks DIH Thirst Park on Friday morning, outdoor events manager Mortimer Stewart presented a check for an undisclosed amount to Irshad Mohammed of the Guyana Cup Organizing Committee. Communications manager of Banks DIH Limited, Troy Peters, said his company was elated to once again be on board and urged patrons to come out and witness quality horse racing on Sunday.
You know, we've always supported horse racing and we continue to do so, and we urge the horse racing fans to come out because we know that this is a grand event and we expect to see everyone come Sunday.
Mohammed, in accepting the sponsorship, was grateful for the support of one of the long-time partners of the Guyana Cup.
As we all know, Banks has been on board with the Guyana Cup for a number of years now, and the sponsorship continue to grow tremendously. And on behalf of the Guyana Cup team, we would like to say a special thank you to them again, and we do look forward to working with them in the future with Guyana Cup and the Guyana Cup field is concerned.
The top jockey, along with the runner-up, the top stable and champion trainer, will be presented with trophies and other incentives, compliments of the organisers. Organised by the business conglomerate Jumbo Jet Auto Sales and Racing Stables, which has establishments at Bushlot and Chester villages on the west coast of Berbice and on the east bank of Demerara and Georgetown, the Guyana Cup 2014 horse race meet is being held in collaboration with the Port Moran Turf Club.
The Park Players Tennis Club is doing its bit to ensure the game of tennis is passed on to the younger generation. Earlier today, the club, under the leadership of national coach Shelley Daly-Ramdian, concluded a 2-week camp for youngsters aged 3 to 15 at the National Racket Centre, Wolford Avenue. A total of 32 youths participated in the program, which focused on the basics of the sport for the beginners and refresher drills for those already with a foundation in the game. This is the first year the Park Players Tennis Club has embarked on such a program since its inception in 2005, and according to Daly-Ramdian, the event was a success as it was able to bring forth players with the ability to succeed. And that has brought us to the end of the evening news for today, Friday, August 22, 2014. Please remember to get a copy of tomorrow's edition of the Guyana Times for details of these stories and other news. I'm Ruben Stobie. Thanks for joining us.